Each night, when the world finally quiets down, that's often when the noise in our minds gets unbearably loud. We've all experienced it. Lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, caught in a loop of endless thoughts about what went wrong today and what tomorrow might bring. It's draining, right? But you're not alone in this mental struggle. Overthinking can feel like an itch you can't reach, robbing you of both your sleep at night and your peace during the day. But what if I told you there's a way to calm those noisy thoughts? Today, we're diving deep into the wisdom of Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that's as useful today as it was thousands of years ago. This isn't just about old theories. It's about real techniques that can help us live a more peaceful, focused life. So, if you're tired of your mind running wild, stick with me. We'll explore how these time-tested strategies can help bring peace and clarity to our hectic world. And if you enjoy what we're sharing and want more insights like these, do me a free favor and hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't want to miss any part of this video. Every second is filled with value to help you quiet the noise in your mind. Lesson 1. Comparison is the thief of joy. When we constantly compare ourselves to others, their success, appearance, or social media posts, we set ourselves up for unhappiness. It's like we're using a yardstick that keeps changing, depending on who we're comparing ourselves to at the moment. The Stoics were big on focusing on what's within our control, and other people's lives are definitely not in our control. As Epictetus famously said, focus on what you can control and let go of what you cannot. When you spend your energy comparing yourself to others, you waste that valuable focus on things you can't change or influence. Let me paint a picture. Imagine you're having a great day, feeling proud of what you've accomplished, big or small. Then you scroll through Instagram or Facebook and see someone's highlight reel, vacations, perfect homes, achievements. Suddenly, your own accomplishments don't seem as impressive anymore. That's the trap of comparison. What the Stoics teach us is to anchor our self-worth in our own values and progress, not in comparison to others. This isn't just about feeling better. It's about fundamentally changing how we view success and happiness. It's about internal validation, not external. When you live by this principle, your perspective shifts from competition to personal growth. It's freeing. You begin to appreciate your own journey, with all its ups and downs, as a unique path, not a race against others' milestones. This mindset allows you to celebrate your own victories without the shadow of someone else's success diminishing them. If you train yourself to shift from comparison to self-reflection, you'll find joy comes more naturally. You'll start to see the blessings in your own life without needing to measure them against someone else's. So, next time you catch yourself falling into the comparison trap, take a step back. Remind yourself that your value isn't determined by how you compare to others, but by how you live according to your own principles and efforts. This shift in mindset is a game changer in overcoming overthinking and finding happiness in your own unique journey. Lesson 2. Perfection is a myth. Chasing perfection can often lead, ironically, not to greater success, but to more dissatisfaction and paralysis. When we set goals that are impossible to reach, every small mistake or setback can feel like a huge failure. This creates a constant cycle of stress and overthinking. The Stoics really understood this. They taught that striving for perfection, as in being flawless or complete, is not only unrealistic, but also unnecessary. Seneca once said, "We suffer more often in imagination than in reality." He was pointing out that our pursuit of a perfect imagined state causes more distress than the actual imperfections of life. Think about it. How often have you obsessed over getting something just right, only to realize that the anxiety you felt wasn't even worth it? Stoicism encourages us to accept imperfection, not as a flaw, but as part of being human. When we recognize that perfection is impossible, we free ourselves from the unrealistic expectations that cause us to overthink. This doesn't mean we should stop trying to improve or grow. On the contrary, it means we should see improvement as a process full of lessons learned from our mistakes. Imagine approaching a new project or skill with the mindset that mistakes are not only expected but valuable. How much more willing would you be to take risks, start something new, or try different approaches? This is the freedom that comes when we stop believing in the myth of perfection. The Stoics teach us that every imperfection is an opportunity to learn. Marcus Aurelius said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." He was telling us that obstacles, imperfections, and setbacks aren't just hurdles to overcome. They're essential parts of our journey that push us to grow. As we move forward, let's shift our focus. Instead of aiming for perfection, let's aim for progress. Let's celebrate both the small and big victories, knowing that every step forward has value. Let's learn to appreciate the beauty in imperfection, because it's what makes our experiences richer and our lives more authentic. By letting go of the myth of perfection, we not only reduce overthinking, but we also open ourselves to a world where growth is joyful, not burdensome. Lesson 3. You're not that special. This idea comes straight from Stoic teachings, especially Marcus Aurelius, who often reminded himself in his meditations to keep his ego in check. He wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do, say, and think." This was his way of staying focused on what truly matters without getting caught up in his own self-importance. So why is realizing that you're not that special a good thing? It's about recognizing that the world doesn't revolve around our actions as much as we might think. Most people are too busy dealing with their own lives to pay much attention to what we're doing. Once you fully grasp this, it's a game changer because you stop overthinking how you're perceived. Have you ever hesitated to post something online because you were worried about what people might think? Or maybe you've been afraid to start a new project or go for a job because you're scared of criticism or failure, thinking everyone will notice and judge you. Here's a Stoic wake-up call. Most people won't even remember it a few days later. Everyone else is too caught up in their own lives. This doesn't mean your actions don't matter or that you shouldn't strive for excellence. It just means you can breathe a little easier knowing that one mistake won't be the focal point of everyone's attention. This perspective strips away the illusion that everyone is watching and judging our every move, which often fuels overthinking and anxiety. It's liberating to realize that you can live your life, make your choices, and even make mistakes without the world crashing down. You get to learn, experiment, and live without the constant fear of being scrutinized. Stoicism helps us nail down this concept by teaching humility and focusing on self-improvement for its own sake, not for external validation or fear of criticism. Marcus Aurelius believed in living a virtuous life and being true to oneself, not seeking applause or worrying about others' opinions. So, next time you catch yourself overthinking how others perceive your actions, remember, you're not that special in the grand scheme of things, and that's a good thing. It frees you to live more fully and authentically, without the weight of imagined judgment. This doesn't diminish your worth. It simply means the spotlight isn't always on you, and that's a relief. Use this understanding to focus on what really matters to you. Pursue your passions and let go of trivial worries. Lesson 4. Your emotions are not your reality. It's easy to get carried away by our emotions, but it's important to remember that they don't always reflect the truth of our situation. Stoicism teaches that while emotions are a natural part of being human, they shouldn't control our decisions or perceptions. This idea is central to the teachings of Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, who advised us to pause and examine our impressions. Are they based on fact, or are we letting our emotions distort our judgment? He once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Think about the last time you felt overwhelmed by emotion. Maybe you were nervous before a big meeting or upset after a disagreement with a friend. In those moments, our emotions can feel overwhelming, as if they define our entire reality. But the truth is, emotions are temporary. They come and go, and they can deceive us into thinking that what we're feeling in the moment is the whole truth. This Stoic lesson isn't about ignoring your emotions, but rather not letting them control you. It's about learning to detach enough to acknowledge your feelings without allowing them to cloud your judgment. This is what the Stoics mean by living a life of virtue, responding to challenges with reason, not emotion. For example, if you feel down after not getting a job you applied for, your initial emotional reaction might be to think you're not good enough or that you'll never find a job you love. But if you take a step back and apply reason, you might see that this rejection is an opportunity to improve or explore new options. To practice this, start small. The next time you feel emotionally charged, take a deep breath and ask yourself, is my reaction based on reality or my interpretation of the situation? Is there another way to see this? Just taking a moment to reflect can help stop you from spiraling into negative overthinking and allow you to approach situations more rationally. Epictetus said, "It's not the events themselves that disturb us, but our view of them." By changing how we view our emotions, we can change how we experience life's ups and downs. This doesn't mean ignoring your feelings, but managing them so you can respond with wisdom and clarity. Lesson 5. Action over analysis. You know those times when you're just sitting there, your mind racing with endless what-ifs and maybes, and before you realize it, hours have passed and you've made no progress? That's exactly what we're addressing here. Stoicism offers a powerful remedy to this paralysis by analysis, choosing action over endless overthinking. Consider the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius, who said, "The secret of all victory lies in the organization of the non-obvious." Marcus wasn't just about thinking deeply, he was about taking impactful action. How do we apply this? It starts by understanding that action inherently pushes us forward, while overthinking often leads to stagnation. Have you ever noticed that once you finally take even the smallest step forward, it feels like a weight is lifted? That's because action is freeing. It breaks the chains of doubt and procrastination. Let me share a personal story. I once had this great idea for a project. I spent weeks just thinking about it, planning out every little detail. But guess what? It went nowhere because I was stuck in analysis paralysis. The moment I began taking small actions, like writing down notes or talking it through with a friend, things started to shift. It wasn't perfect, but it was progress. The Stoics believed we control our actions, but not always the outcome. By focusing on what we can do now, we reduce the stress of trying to control every possible future scenario, which, let's face it, is impossible. Every action you take teaches you something new, brings new insights, and yes, sometimes new challenges, but always progress. Each step is a learning opportunity, a chance to adjust. And here's something else. Action builds confidence. Every time you act, you show yourself that you can move beyond your fears. You gain momentum, and suddenly, what seemed impossible starts to feel achievable. Remember, Stoicism emphasizes living in accordance with nature, and it's natural to grow from what we do, not just from what we think. So what small action can you take today? Maybe it's making that call you've been avoiding, sending an email, or simply organizing your workspace. It doesn't have to be a huge step. Small steps still count. The key is to keep moving. Don't let your thoughts hold you back. As Seneca said, "It's not because things are difficult that we don't dare, it's because we don't dare that they are difficult." By embracing the Stoic value of action over analysis, we empower ourselves to live with more clarity, courage, and direction. So let's put those plans into motion. You'll be amazed at how much more you can accomplish when you shift from overthinking to doing. Lesson 6. Detach from outcomes. Stoicism teaches us that much of our stress comes from holding too tightly to outcomes we can't control. The Stoics emphasize the difference between what we can control and what we can't. While we can influence outcomes, we don't have full control over them. Epictetus famously said, "Some things are in our control and others are not." This simple truth is key to achieving Stoic calm and resilience. Think about when you're working on a project or striving toward a goal. If you're only focused on the outcome, every small setback can feel like a disaster. This fixation can lead to constant stress and disappointment because in reality, outcomes are often affected by variables beyond our control. But what if you shifted your focus from the result to the effort itself? Imagine the freedom of knowing your self-worth isn't tied to the outcome of your actions, but to the quality and intention behind them. Detaching from outcomes doesn't mean you stop caring about results. It means you're no longer defined by them. Take something simple, like starting a new diet or fitness routine. If your goal is to lose a specific amount of weight in a certain time, you're setting yourself up for frustration if things don't go exactly as planned. But if you focus on building healthier habits or enjoying your workouts, the process becomes the focus. You'll notice improvements in your energy and mood, which are direct results of your actions, things you can control. The weight loss then becomes a bonus, not the sole measure of your success. This Stoic mindset builds resilience. When outcomes aren't everything, setbacks become less frightening. They're just part of the process, opportunities to learn and adjust. This approach fosters a more sustainable motivation because it's rooted in what you're doing now, not a distant, uncertain goal. Moreover, detaching from outcomes allows you to be more present and engaged in the task at hand, which can actually lead to better results. So, as we move forward, let's try to practice this. Focus on your actions, live according to your values, and do your best in each moment. Trust that by doing this, the outcomes will take care of themselves. Marcus Aurelius said, "Just do the right thing. The rest doesn't matter." It's a freeing way to live and cuts down on overthinking and unnecessary stress. Lesson 7. Live in the present. It's easy to get stuck in regrets about the past or worries about the future, but Stoicism reminds us that the only time we really have control over is the present. Marcus Aurelius, a strong believer in this idea, wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." What he's saying is simple, yet deeply important. The past is beyond our reach, and the future is unpredictable. But the present is where life happens. Consider how often your mind drifts to what has already happened or what's about to happen. Maybe you're dwelling on an argument from last week or stressing about a deadline coming up. These thoughts don't just distract you, they drain your energy. They pull you away from what's happening right now, making it harder for you to focus on the task at hand and reducing your overall effectiveness and happiness. Embracing the present moment means paying attention to what's happening right now. This doesn't mean you ignore past lessons or stop planning for the future. It means not letting those thoughts overpower your current experience. It's about finding balance, not letting one part of your life distract you from the others. For instance, if you're spending time with a friend but thinking about tomorrow's work presentation, you're not fully present. You miss out on the moment with your friend, and you're not truly helping yourself prepare either. A scattered focus rarely leads to good outcomes. However, if you focus on enjoying your time with your friend, you enhance that experience and often feel more clear-headed and ready when it's time to work. Practicing presence can start with something as simple as mindful breathing. When you catch yourself thinking too much about the past or future, take a few deep breaths and observe your surroundings. Notice the sights, sounds, and smells. Feel the air on your skin, the ground under your feet. This isn't just about grounding yourself physically. It's about reminding yourself that life is happening now. The Stoic practice of mindfulness also encourages gratitude. Being present helps you notice small joys and victories that might otherwise go unnoticed, deepening your appreciation for life as it is, rather than how you wish it were or fear it might become. So as we move forward, let's work on bringing our attention back to the present whenever it starts to wander. Every moment spent worrying about the past or future is a moment lost. The present is your reality, the stage where you can act. Marcus Aurelius urged us to live with purpose and energy in the present, not passively, but actively shaping our lives moment by moment. By focusing on the present, we fully engage with life itself. We can manage stress better, enjoy experiences more deeply, and feel a sense of peace knowing that we are truly living, not just going through the motions. This is a key Stoic lesson that not only cuts down on overthinking, but also enriches our entire experience of life. Let's make the most of now, because it's all we truly have. And with that, we wrap up our look at how Stoic wisdom can change how we think and live. Every moment you choose to be present and intentional is a step toward a more meaningful life. Thanks for being here at the Wisdom Hub. If today's discussion resonated with you, feel free to explore one of the recommended videos on the screen to dive deeper into Stoicism. We truly appreciate your presence and involvement. Until we meet again, live life to the fullest and keep thinking deeply.